Hello, I am Nancy Johnson. Welcome to Holistic Lifestyle. My business is Intention to Balance, a wellness company that specializes in essential oils. And this program is really to help you understand all the different modalities there are available to you that many people don't know about. And holistic really means just treating the whole body. And today I'm really excited for our guest, Sherilyn Mathis. She is at the Wellness Boutique in Osseo, Minnesota, and she is a massage therapist, but she specializes also in cranial sacral, which is what we'll be talking about today. And if we have time, we're going to cover some other things, but it's going to be hard to say how much time we have. So welcome, Sherilyn, and please tell us, anything you'd like to share about yourself first.
Oh, okay. So I just started at the Wellness Boutique. It just opened up. So I removed myself from my job that I had and started my own business. At my other job, I didn't have the opportunity to do the cranial sacral therapy, in which that I am loving to do because I see the results much more dramatic than the basic muscle therapy. So I've been enjoying kind of starting that. So been in business just recently, but been doing massage for a while now.
Well, and I read that you were introduced to cranial sacral back in 1995, just a couple of years ago. And the reason I really wanted you to come on today, I've experienced cranial sacral now myself with you, which I'll share later, but also to really just help people understand what it is and what it does, what the benefits are and kind of how it works.
Yep. So cranial sacral therapy is a nice light touch approach to the body, and it allows the central nervous system to be a little bit more excited, to bring in the little bit more restorative and healing balancing to the body. So sometimes when a person is having a challenge with either pain or dis-ease, or maybe they have had an accident and they can't seem to get over it, or maybe they've had a surgery, or maybe a loss in an emotional situation, or maybe they had something very traumatic happen in their life. This approach allows them to have more of a parasympathetic approach to the body healing process, quiets the body down, allows the body to just be in that nice, calm and peaceful moment, and then the body has the opportunity to heal. The human body does heal itself. If you give it the opportunity, it will.
Well, and that's what was so interesting for me to learn is, I'm, of course, in this holistic realm that I love, and I understand totally about the body being able to heal itself. Mm-hmm. But I experienced it firsthand when I was with you. I was really surprised because I went in there, as you know, for my tinnitus that I believe happened when a loud noise went off, and thinking it was all in my ear. and then my first experience with you, it was kind of shocking and amazing in a good way that, I felt like I had this big brick on my chest, like your hands were way up here. And, that's what you can share more about. It's a real light touch, if even touching sometimes, but why I experienced that and kind of what that meant for me.
Yeah. So tinnitus is ringing in the ears, and a lot of times the medical society says that there's no cure for it, but it actually is a fight and flight response. So it's your adrenal glands, and they were just too heightened at one time, like you said, that big boom, and it just brought them in. So they kind of stayed at that point. And so with that talking so loud to your nerves, pretty soon your nerves start being active, and then you become more sensitive and more heightened interior, and your ringing begins to hear, because you're just hearing your nerves just right. Going and being active. And so with the cranial sacral therapy that we did with you, we just lay the hands on your underneath your neck and underneath your sacrum, and let the fluid, the cerebral spinal fluid, just kind of keep doing its job of rhythm. And within time, we just kind of move my hands to wherever your body wants me to move to. And so we kind of came here, and somewhere down the line, you had to put a protective barrier on you because you just couldn't handle anymore, because your fight and flight can't handle anymore. So then it just gets into that high, that's where you felt your protective barrier. And each time that we had the session, it kind of came down,
Right.
and then came down, and then came down. So it started quieting down your adrenal system and your nervous system to not be so heightened.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's so interesting to me too, is, I know this attention, or part of the benefit it does is it relaxes you with less tension. And I know the first time I did it, I was so incredibly relaxed in a good way.
Yeah.
And every time afterwards, I can have the most energy and come in and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoop, I'm totally relaxed. And it's like, what creates that, or how does the body get so relaxed from something that you aren't even really barely touching?
Right. So the nervous system, or the cerebral spinal fluid in the nervous system, when you allow your body to quiet down, your parasympathetic part of you, which is your restorative part of you, which is your glandular system and your lower, sacrum area, when that gets activated, and I speed it up, I get you quieted down, and I speed up that to get you into the parasympathetic area, which is so nice. We don't, as a culture, quiet down enough. We have TV on, or radio on, or internet on, or we have headsets and music on. We don't have actually a quiet room, just other than we're sleeping. And some people have the quiet noise, or the noise systems that they have at night,
Right.
and that still stimulates their nervous system, and they still keep in that heightened thing. So with you come in, we're in a nice room, fully clothed, we don't take any clothes off, and we just kind of just nicely touch, and your body just goes into it real fast, real quick. And then when we're done, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna get up and go take a nap, thank you.
Right.
And your body begins to do that process of healing. Just take care of business. Whatever it needs at that day, that moment, that time, the body will take care of it. And every session is different, even though it's the same you and same me.
Right. Well, I remember the first time I thought it was funny because my stomach was growling and making all this noise, and you're like, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And I'm
Yep.
like, it's like, and then I know you usually start at the feet and ask kind of for cooperation. And
Yep.
And so if someone is unwilling, is cranial sacral going to work?
No.
No.
Nope. So that's why I have Synergy and Beauty, which is my business name. And Synergy is taking a good one sum of something and a good one sum of something, and bringing it together, fusing it, and making it a whole, which is then together better than the sum of separate. So you and I coming together during that time brings in this really nice healing process. Say that you're coming in to test me, or to say, well, someone told me about you, and I'm just going to come in and see if you're willing to do whatever. Your body already has the doubt, it already has it, and it's not going to heal. Your human body does what it wants you to do. Body, soul, and spirit all together in one synergy, and then it begins. But if you're doubting it, not much is going to happen.
But you are natural at it because you have such a beautiful way of helping people, or just the words you say. I know I brought my daughter in too, and she was kind of like, what is this, whatever.
Yeah.
And she absolutely loved it. It's like she can't wait to go back, because she just totally resonated with it.
Yeah, you try to be as intentionally kind and peaceful and caring for the person, because you're coming in because you want your body to heal. That's your intention, to bring it back to balance, bring it into healing, bring it back into that fullness of joy in which the body loves to walk in. And if I'm sitting there, not being nice about it, and not doing good about it, or just being like, well, whatever, then that doesn't work either. So I have to prepare myself for the day, and my clients that come in and know that I'm there to help your body do its job. And even when you leave me, the next 7 to 10 days, your body is still working really hard. So I'll give you a little bit of homework to do for yourself.
Yep.
And then you come back in, and then we'll just kind of, what's the next layer that the body wants to bring into healing? And sometimes, like for me, when I have my sessions with my therapists, I go 3 months, once a week for 3 months, because I know that will reboot And then not only, change it, it will also then begin to the maintaining of it.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because the last time I went, trying to figure out, always thinking again that it's coming from my ear, and you had your hand under here, and when you did that, all of a sudden I could feel the pulsing in my ear, and that was such a kind of light bulb moment almost, like to understand, because I know in the past I'd had some digestive issues, and I've been helped a lot with the oils with them and things, but if this is connected to that, it's like, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Yep. So there's probably fascia that has that beautiful webbing that's in our body that holds us all together. That fascia is probably touching those nerves down to those nerves. And so that's communication highway that's going back and forth. So I kind of hit kind of a root area that's right up into there. So, yeah.
And it could even have, we talked about I broke my leg when I was little.
Yes.
It might have had something to do with that, possibly.
Yeah, these onsets that happen, like the tendonitis, is really years prior, way years prior. And it probably, the big booming probably just triggered it into a real heightened area, but it probably started long before that time.
Lovely.
Yep.
I know. But it is better, for sure.
Yep.
And, I'll obviously continue to go. It's just, to me, even the relaxation after, I still remember the owner, Kim of the Wellness Boutique, recognizing right away how calm I looked. And I just felt that way, So what would people come to see you for? Is there, I know there's a whole list of issues that people have that cranial sacral might help.
Yeah, so mine, because I was introduced in 1995, we tried chiropractic and acupuncture and supplements and rest and all that, and nothing was helping. I was still kind of going on a downhill, sleeping all day and sleeping. I just couldn't get back up the energy. And so when I was introduced to it, she just did a little bit of cranial sacral, probably like 4 sessions, and all of a sudden my body started coming back to life again. So mine was like chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. For all I know, back then, the HPA axis, which is your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals, right? Right. Just became that little axis just comes offline a little bit. And one goes, hey, I'm gonna tag you, you do it now. Hey, you tag. And within time, they were all just getting exhausted. And what happens in that, when it goes offline, your human growth hormone starts to plummet in its production. So that hormone goes down. And so they just kind of 4 sessions of cranial sacral, and I started reproducing because my nervous system started stimulating again. And within 3 months, I was back up to being pretty close to balance. Just needing basic chiropractic, needing just basic supplements, and able to exercise and not sleep so much.
And that's why we always seem to find what works or end up doing it as a profession, because we need the help first, right?
Yep. Oh, I love it. I had migraines. I had braces as an adult for the second time, and it really makes a mess in the head. And so I started getting migraines. And so I went in for another 3-month session just to get the migraines away. I didn't know that it was the braces on my, in my mouth that were causing the migraines. And that helped a lot, and it created a nice, I was not having migraines anymore. And then years later, again, I went through another session, but that was more of, those sessions within time were more of a somato emotional releasing, which is emotions that are pent up in your body due to just, life. And so I had more of that emotional releasing. So for me, and so that's what a lot of my clients do too, is the emotional releasing.
So is it, like chiropractic is totally related to the spine?
Yes.
And so much of your nervous system is all related to the spine. So cranial sacral is really the same, it's related to?
Yes, same thing. So cranial sacral is a semi-hydraulic rhythm that goes, from your cerebrospinal fluid in your brain, and it'll turn around, go down your spine, and come back up. Go, turn around, come back, go down. And does that 6 to 12 times a minute. And that's the normal, that's the nice balance. If people's are slower, which I'll find them slow or almost not even existent, that means their body is really struggling with something. Or I'll find them super fast, like I am, like, woo, hey, we gotta calm this thing down. And so sometimes when you're like laying in bed and you go to bed at night and you're just vibrating, that vibrate that will not go, and it's a deep vibrate.
Right.
That's when your cerebral spinal fluid is just whipping, and it's going way too quickly, and it just needs to quiet down.
So can you quiet it down yourself?
You would have to
At
know
night?
how.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to know.
Is that something you teach
Yeah.
people? I
Yeah.
know you said about the homework, because I had the homework,
Yeah, the
that
homework.
I have been doing.
Yes, yep. I
So-
make sure that you have your homework so that it continues going. So that when you see me, that we're going on to the next stage probably in your healing process. So I like you to be a part of it. So yeah, once you come in, we get you to that point where you can then do that homework. Then yeah, you can do it.
It's so interesting to me, because it's just like how the body knows. And I like what you just said. For me, it's always with natural health, anything you put foreign in your body is probably going to create some other issues. And like your
Yeah.
braces, so most
Yeah.
people wouldn't even think about any repercussions from that.
No.
And
No.
and surgery, and what happens with all people have so much metal in their bodies and things. And
Yeah, surgeries are probably, if you have a spinal tap or a spinal block, you've now disrupted that rhythm. And so that's what happened with me. I had a C-section, and the needle went through my spine. They had to pull it back out and put it back in, and to get it to work right. And that whole thing and that whole trauma just quieted me right down. So my cerebral spinal fluid was not rhythmically moving very quickly. And so it's not stimulating the nerves stimulating the tissues, stimulating the organs, stimulating the body, stimulating the muscles, and allowing the bones to get what they need for healing, or keeping balanced.
so in a perfect world,
Yep.
people get to, right after they have surgery or something done, like I'm sure your symptoms didn't show up right away.
No,
And they
no.
don't, and like
Years
with my
later.
tinnitus, didn't show up right
Years
away.
later.
Had I
Yep.
been doing something proactively and got that in balance, probably wouldn't have gotten tinnitus.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
More than likely. I know the hospitals now and in the dentistry, they're all kind of bringing in the cranial sacral. And when they understand, when they start
I didn't know that.
understanding what affects, when you go to the dentist and then you're like, oh, my jaw hurts. Oh my gosh, I got a headache. Oh, my neck is killing me. Oh, the dentist just kind of moved around with things a little bit too much, which we all know that sometimes happens.
Right.
And with a little bit of cranial sacral, it doesn't take very much, 30 minutes of just that, and then and then sessions until it quiets back down and gets back into order. So it's pretty easy. It's
I know.
nice.
I love how the medical professionals now are. It's like even my dentist. When I had some work done and he wanted to give me some medication, and I just don't take medications. And I said, he goes, "You're going to use your essential oils, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, clove oil." And after that, I went back, and the one of the team members there shared with me that they've been studying clove oil, and the results
The
look very
healing process.
promising.
Yes.
They said so. To think that we can now go and get some natural solutions to things like that too are a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I work with the oils also, and so working with oils on the spine and doing the cranial sacral, it brings in healing faster than doing separately, of course, or not one or the other. So doing them together bring in this beautiful healing balance that comes in a little bit faster and softer and gentler. We aren't having to do anything major. You just do the therapy and then do your little bit of homework, which is still just light touch wherever it is, and your body will respond.
Yeah. And I just like to tell people it's not woo-woo, it actually really works, and it's really fun.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, like, how does it work?
I know, right?
It's like, I just...
Why do oils work, right? I know.
Yeah, so it's nice, it's a really nice, yep.
Well, and the nice addition that I made to that cranial sacral was getting what you suggested, to get an ionic foot bath afterwards. And I hear different things from different people, and I just love how you explain everything and help me understand it, because that was really interesting seeing what that looks like. But again, we have all these metal toxins and things in our bodies that we need to get out.
Yeah, we eat food. Somebody asked me about the ionic foot bath, and they were putting their feet in it, and they said, well, would it ever be clear? I said, well, if you stop eating,
right?
but then you're also not alive, after a while. Yeah, it would become somewhat clean. But yeah, so, the ionic foot bath is controversial. There's people who say, oh, that works, oh, it doesn't, oh, this is this, oh, it's that. But I think, I like it. I've been using it for years for me. If I don't feel good, if I'm sick, or if I've had a surgery, or if I have taken some type of, an antibiotic or a pain reliever due to whatever, all the residue that medicine is inside of you. And if your body is super healthy, which, why did you have to take that medicine? So it's not, right? It's there. So that residue that sits in there and just sits in there, and then pretty soon your body's having to shove it in different places and put it in the tissue and hold it and store it and all that. And you're thinking, why am I feeling so achy? And why do I feel so icky? So with the ionic foot bath, you just put your feet in there. There's an array that goes into it, connected to a computer, and then from the computer there's a little electrical modality that then sends a current through you. You sit there for 30 minutes and watch the water turn into pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
But I noticed that when you were on your detoxing,
Yes.
your water was cleaner. And then you get done doing your detox and going to normal eating habits and normal things, that water got a little bit dirtier or a little bit more clunkier.
Well, and I like that, because the first time I think I did it, there was certain colors, and those meant certain things, like your joints or your lymphatic system, which I had more of. It was good. I didn't see any yeast for me, because I always wonder, about candida. So
that's an indicator. So it's an indicator to let your body know: do you have yeast? Do you have candida? Do you have fungus? Do you have major organ challenges that are just kind of not being able to clean up and clean out? You'll see that right there. Or say that if you were traveling and you drank some water and you're like, I haven't felt the same. And then you'll see it, and then there's either minerals or there's toxins or there's something coming out in there. And it'll literally pull them out. Yeah, and you feel better.
And I did that GX cleanse, and that's when it came out cleaner afterwards. But then when I did my Slim and Sassy, which also helps release toxins from fat cells,
I got rid of that.
Then it was green, and like the gallbladder and bubbles started showing up, and I was having gas issues with that. So it was so interesting to me. If people say it doesn't work, to me, the proof seemed to be there for me.
Yeah, I feel better when I have if I'm really regular, I'll do mine like every month, and just to see how I'm doing, and then go, okay, I need to cut down on dairy, because it would be just sluggish. So I'm due for another one. I haven't done one. I wasn't doing this morning, and I ran out of time.
We don't always take care of ourselves.
No,
right?
we don't. That's the whole thing, is that you forget about yourself, and then in time you realize that you're not as quick as you used to be in your thought process, or maybe you angst over little tiny things, or maybe you just you go to pull your leg up to do something and you think, I can't get it up there. Why? Well, you just didn't take the time to keep yourself in a nice flow of energy, just kind of keeping it good. And some people just don't know,
Right.
It's like, oh, my knee, inside my knee hurts. And I'm like, oh, so your digestion is kind of out of whack, huh? And they're like, no, my knee hurts. I'm like, okay. So, the insides of your knee and the insides of that is indication of a digestion. Either you ate something, or your digestion is having a little bit of like, hey, I'm kind of spasming out here.
Well, and I know so many people think aches and pains are normal, and even headaches. I had my good doctor friend, natural doctor, chiropractor, told me that, he said, Nancy, headaches are not normal. You're not supposed to get headaches, because people just think, oh, you just get them, and it's like, no, we're not supposed to.
No, it's an indication that there's a really big, deep something happening. Like sometimes you get that frontal headache right here, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can hardly handle it. But you don't realize that your stomach, and you have a little bit of a nausea, kind of, but not really. It's your stomach just having a hard time. Something brought it to a very, and your whole hair area is telling you it's your stomach.
And that could be food, or it could be emotions, right?
Yeah. Something emotionally could probably happen, or you'd be in the middle of a situation in your life or your family, and you have to get through it. It's just this what we do. We handle our family's situations, and then when it's all done, that's when you fall apart. That's when you start noticing everything, and you just don't know why you're doing that, because everything's done. Well, you fall apart after stress.
Right. And I just look at it. I mean, the body's so smart. but it's not invincible.
No.
It's like we have to be there with it and be proactive and help our bodies.
Yeah, it's a beautifully made, and if we can listen to it, it'll be good for us for a very long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of different modalities with massage too. Do you ever do massage and cranial simultaneously in the same day? Or?
Yep, I will do that integrated. So I have a lot of clients that will do an hour of body work because they want their muscles taken care of and want them done and get all of that daily what they do for their lifestyle. And then they want to quiet down and have 30 minutes of nice cranial sacral and get their rhythm back into sorts, get them back in there, and get them back rebooted. So yeah, I have a lot of them.
I'll have to try that because I'm already so relaxed. I'll probably fall asleep. I think I did fall asleep one time with the cranial.
Yep, a lot of people do.
I was just like, because I'm always thinking and I have a really busy mind, so for me to totally relax is not always easy, but it just seems so natural.
Yeah, that's the parasympathetic part of you. You just learn to let it go. And while you're there, and your body takes care of business. Me and your body kind of go there, but you know, and then when you're awake, then you wake back up again, and that's that homework that I tell you about. So
yeah, and I know I continue to learn about all the different things you do. The one thing I don't even know what it is. I know cupping you talked about because I think Michael Phelps or someone did cupping.
Yep. Negative pressure.
Negative pressure.
Yep. Gua sha is positive pressure.
Gua sha. That's a form of massage.
It's a therapy more so. In intense gua sha, you ever see like lines of bruising on people? Like there's like a line and a line. Okay, so that's gua sha. So you're taking a very sharp-edged type of tool, like a lid of a jar or a spoon, and you're just kind of working the tissue and taking the sand out of it, they call it, or taking the congestion that's in the tissue and the muscle that's right there, and making the blood have to come up and the energy come up and the oxygen come up and heal that area and can bring it into new.
Sure.
So some people don't like that. So I do soft gua sha, which is a softer edge stone, which is nice stones that just go in a downward motion and just kind of go in there and allow the muscle and the tissue to relax into a nice, more sedated tone, and by the time you get off the table there, you go home and go to take a nap too. So, is
there anyone that cranial sacral wouldn't be good for?
Yeah, there's contradictions. It's just brain aneurysms. You can't really go into that. That's working again with the cerebrospinal fluid. Tumors in the brain. You can work on their lower half of their body. Okay, but you cannot come up into this area. So that's kind of there. Newborn babies are good. Yeah, so I just had...
I have a brand new one.
Yeah,
little grandbaby Clara.
Congratulations, Grandma. Yeah, so yeah, newborns, they come out. They get a little bit tousled in that newborn stuff, so... Yeah.
Great. Well, as we wrap up here, I want to encourage people. I don't think everybody can do the same as everybody else. I just know you're very talented at it, and there's a lot of free classes at the Wellness Boutique. It's the wellnessboutiquemn.com.
Correct. Yes.
And we'll have your information on here too, so people can contact you. And there's things to buy there, and it's the whole shop and all the services offered, which we haven't even barely gone into.
Right.
Which we will at some point, hopefully in the future. Because I love having you as a guest. You know so much. It's just
thank you.
So I totally appreciate your time today. It's just
Thanks for inviting me.
A beautiful, easy process, and it's just been, I'm just so grateful of what it's done for me. So thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.